Hello everyone! Today I will be showing you a tutorial on how to create a simple alarm security system. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Now, before we get into the circuit connection, here are the lists on what components you are going to need in this project. First, you are going to need one laser, one LDR, one LED, one resistor with the value of 10k ohm, one speaker, one Arduino board, one breadboard, and also some connecting wires. Alright, so now I'll be showing you on how to set up this very simple project. We're going to start off with the most simple part first. Okay, as you can see here, this is a speaker. So what you're going to do is to connect this positive terminal. Alright, you can see the symbol behind the speaker. Connect this positive terminal to the output number 5. Right, you can connect it to any other output. Right, what you're going to do later is depending on the code. And now connect the negative terminal to any one of the negative port on the breadboard. So now let's move on to the LED. Okay, as you can see here, we're going to connect the cathode, this negative terminal, to output number 4. As for the anode, the positive terminal, to output number 3. Now let's move on to the laser. As you can see here, the cathode, or I should say the blue wire, we should connect this one to the negative terminal of the breadboard. Now moving on to the anode, or I should say the red wire, connect it to the positive port of the breadboard. Moving on to the photoreceptor, or I should call it the LDR, connect terminal 1 to one of the positive port of the breadboard. And now connect terminal 2 to the inner space of the breadboard. Now we're going to use a resistor of a value 10k ohm, and we're going to connect the end of the orange color beside the terminal 2 of the LDR, and then the other terminal to the negative port of the breadboard. And of course, don't forget to connect them to this input right here, input A0. And of course, this is not the end yet. This whole circuit is yet to be supplied with voltage. So we should connect this 5V right here to the positive port of the breadboard. At the same time, don't forget to connect the ground to the negative port of the breadboard. And now this shall be the end. Now let's move on to the coding part. So all of this coding right here are made just for this simple project. We will be going in detail right now. First of all, we're going to start with the first 3 lines of the coding. INT actually means integers, and they are your primary data type for number storage. And for the first line, you can tell sensor pin equals to A0 because you've already connected your sensor, your LDR, to input A0. Sensor value as 0, as this command is going to help you to actually store the values read from your LDR. As for the speaker, okay, you already connected the speaker to output pin number 5, and that's why you have to state it here. So now let's move on to the void setup. Void setup is technically a function that you create at the top of each program. So inside all these curly brackets are the code that you want to run one time as soon as the program starts running. Right, so basically what you're going to do here is to tell the Arduino what it's going to do as soon as it started. So for example, sensor pin, the LDR pin is going to be the input, right? The pin mod 4 and 3 as output for the LED, and the speaker is going to be the output, okay, as you have already connected to output number 5, and also serial begin. So serial pins actually helps to set the data rate in bits per second for serial data transmission. So this thing will be needed as you want to observe the sensor value in the tools serial monitor. Right? This is going to show you the sensor value as you go on. Proceeding to the void loop. So void loop is just another function that Arduino uses as a part of its structure. So the code inside this function is going to run over and over again as long as the board is turned on. So as you can see from the first value, sensor value equals to analog read sensor pin. So what is analog read? Analog read is technically a command that converts the input voltage range from 0 to 5 volts to a digital value between 0 and 1023. Right. Then you're going to have the code serial print in sensor value. So this code functions to print out the value read from the sensor, and this value can be viewed in serial monitor under the tools option. And then comes the code delay bracket 10. So this number 10 actually means 10 milliseconds. And what is its function? It actually functions to delay the interval between the two values that show up in the serial monitor. So for example, if the first value shows up, there's going to be a 10 milliseconds delay before the second value shows up. The next code is if sensor value is smaller than 700. So this code is the reason why the serial print in code is actually important. So This serial printing code is the code that helps to print out the value that the sensor read in the serial monitor under the tools option. As soon as you start your board, the LDR is going to sense the light from the sensor, right? But the value is not going to be constant. There will be a slight change in intervals, as you can see in the serial monitor. So what's going to happen if the sensor value is smaller than 700? Once the sensor value is below 700, I'm going to have the speaker turns on, and at the same time turns on the LED too. So first I'm going to have the code digital write speaker pin high. So the word high here actually means turns on. The second code right here, tone bracket 5 3047 and 400. So the 5 right here means the output pin number 5 that you connected your speaker to, and then the value 3047 right here is actually the frequency that will be produced by the speaker, and 400 right here is the duration. So as the no tone actually functions to turn off the tone, leaving the pin in output low state. So moving on to turning on the LED, right? Still remember the pin number 4, alright? So I'm going to have the LED as high, which means turns on. So what is going to happen if the sensor value is above 700? As soon as the sensor value exceeds the value 700, I'm going to have the code else first, and then I will light my speaker and the LED to turn off. Okay, that is why you're going to have digital write speaker pin low, and at the same time digital write 4 low. So the word low right here actually means turn off. And that will be the end of the coding. Before I end this tutorial, let's have a look on how this simple project is going to present itself. So right here is just a short clip. Enjoy.